Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're making a beautiful pork cutlet recipe. This pork cutlet recipe is ridiculously good, and it is by none other than Gordon Ramsay. I highly recommend you try this recipe. I will leave a link to Gordon's video in the description because he has a YouTube video of himself making this. I think it's on the F Word channel, not his normal channel, but the F Word channel is like a show. Sorry about that weird audio in the background. You heard that. Anyway. So I'm going to start by salting these pork cutlets. If you don't know pork cutlet, it's kind of a hard cut to find of meat. It's similar to pork loin, but it's a little different. So take the pork cutlet and you salt it and pepper it. Once you have it fully salted and peppered, you're going to flip them over and do that same thing to the other side. So you flip them over, and once they're all flipped, we're going to salt and pepper the other side. I snapped too late again, because this is like the second time I've recorded this voiceover. I'm not confident in myself. Why am I telling you this? Anyway, so now I'm putting them in a ripping hot pan, and they're gonna sear. We're gonna get a Maillard reaction. If you don't know Maillard reaction, it's the browning of meat. It's the fat caramelizing. By the way, you might notice there's a sixth pork cutlet in there. That's because we ended up making 6. Long story. But so here's me flipping the first one. I actually flipped it early, so I flipped it back over. By the way, I'm making this recipe with my mom. She helped out. She wanted to make it. She did a lot of the work because it was her idea and she wanted to make it, and I helped out, and we helped out. It was a team effort. But anyway, so now we're flipping them again. Let's see how it kind of cooked when I flipped it the first time, but then I re-flipped it, which you don't necessarily want to do, but it turned out fine. It turned out great. So now we're flipping them, and you see how they're more brown than the one when the first time I flipped it. Now that one I flipped the first time, we're going to flip it again in just a second to see the other side. Just pushing it down, but now we're going to flip it. And we're going to turn it over in just a second. Come on, let's flip them. And they're flipped. Or, no, now they're all flipped. I'm watching the voiceover and talking as it's cooked. Anyway, so you get these in the nice thing, and you flip them over. Once they're cooked on both sides, you get some butter and put them on top, and the butter kind of melts into it, and you baste it eventually, but not yet. So you get the butter and you do that, and then you start doing the sides, because the sides are fat, you gotta get that fat rendered, so you start cooking the sides. This is my mom. You might see her bracelets and watch. She's cooking meat. Right now, I'm filming, and anyway, she did a great job of this. Gets them on their side. It's easier if you have one like Gordon does in his video, but we were doing 6. I'm not going to cook one at a time. So this is how we did it, and it worked pretty well. It looks complicated. It looks like kind of a mess in the pan, but it works. So you're going to get them all lined up and cooked. And then once they're all, and you'll get that fat rendered. One thing is the fat will take a second to render. It's not going to render immediately. There's a big chunk of it, but you're going to get it crispy eventually, and it's going to be good. It won't take too long. It'll take like a minute or 2 to get it nice and crispy, but once you've done it, so good. So, you keep getting crispy. Keep in mind that your pork is pretty much cooked through to the amount that it's going to be for now. It'll simmer in the pan later with the sauce, which you'll see, but it's almost already fully cooked. So you're gonna get the sides seared. I know they don't probably look too seared, but you can see that one right closest to the camera. You can see the edge, and that's nice. It's not quite done from what I can tell, but it's close. Anyway, so as you can see, we're getting them on their sides, and we're cooking them, and we're just getting all that fat seared, getting so much flavor. It's just delicious. The most amazing way to eat this. This pork cutlet recipe is just insane. So you do that, and then once you're done with those, you take them out of the pan and drain it. You still have the fond on the bottom, which you want. And here I am grating in a shallot. This is pretty much a whole shallot, or half of a shallot, or a lot of a shallot. Shallots are like an onion, but stronger. If you don't know, excuse the background. Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, so I'm grating in the shallot, and then, so then again, and then once I'm done grating the shallot, I'm going to put in some garlic and start mixing it around, frying it, cooking it, getting it cooked. That was self-explanatory. See that it's kind of cooking and searing, and then you take some brandy and pour it in, and you use that to deglaze the pan. So now you're scraping all that fond off the bottom, getting it into the sauce, and you're like sort of halting the cooking of the garlic and shallot, but not really. And you're gonna let the alcohol burn off for a couple minutes. Sorry, I had to breathe for a second. And then once it's burned off, you're gonna take it and once it's burned off, once it's burned off, you're gonna pour in some chicken stock, just a little bit. You don't need a lot. You can see us pouring that in. Us being me and my mom. She's stirring right now. You can see her hand. So then you do that, and then there's one finishing touch for the sauce, and that is to pour in some cream. So you see in the shot, my mom pours in a good amount of the cream. I'm filming and hoping the rest is in. And you get that cream nice and stirred into it, and it is. Oh, that sauce is good. See, that cream isn't fully stirred in. We're just kind of letting it sit for a second. Just grabbing a whisk. So now we're just whisking that together. Huge shout out to my mom for finding this recipe. I watched Gordon's videos, but I never saw this one. But yeah, so you stir it around, and then you just kind of let it steam and get thickened. But while it's thickening, you do this. Sorry, that was you. Sorry. While it's thickening, so you will let it thicken on its own for a minute, and then eventually you put in the pork. So we'll show that in just a second after throwing the butter. Let that butter melt. Let's throw that butter around. This sauce is delicious, and we're gonna throw in a seed mustard and come on. And a Dijon mustard. I guess that already went on. I was being blind. If you don't know what seed mustard is, where the mustard seeds are still whole, and then a Dijon mustard is classic. Like, I think it's French mustard. I should know this. I pretty much only eat Dijon mustard when I eat mustard. Anyway, so you can get that still pretty hot. You're getting that stirred around, and you're gonna add in the pork cutlets in just a second. Make sure that you let the sauce thicken a bit before you add the pork, and then I would edit this more and get it probably better, but I've been working on it for a while, and I need to get this out, and it's not getting it out. I'm kind of having a busy week trying to do this, but see, putting the pork, there's 1, 2. This is me putting the pork in, by the way, while my mom keeps to the sauce. That didn't make sense. There's 4, 5, and the last one. So all in, we stir them, and we're gonna get them nice and covered in the sauce. And then once they're covered in the sauce, so just give it a second. We're still working on them. We're gonna let them sit at the bottom, and we're gonna flip them over. No, sorry, we're not gonna flip them over. I was stupid. Actually, we are gonna flip them over. I knew that. I was confused when I didn't do it. Sorry. I'm getting better at video editing. My videos are gonna get better. This voiceover has been interesting. I'm gonna start doing voiceovers, and they're gonna be better than this one. It's a good first one. But anyway, so take your pork and flip it, and get it fully covered in sauce. And then all you have to do from here is put on a lid to the pan and let it sit and kind of let the flavors get to know each other for a couple minutes while you're just setting the table, preparing the rest of dinner, or doing whatever. So you can see us pouring in the beef juices that were there, and the sauce. That was a good touch. I think Gordon did that, but whether he did or not, anyway, yeah. So we lit it. That's me putting on the lid, and we wait. So here it is on the table after sitting for a couple minutes. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it. There it is again, just for a better angle. But here's it on my plate. This was freaking delicious. You don't know. Next to it, we have some nice roasted cauliflower, and then we have some like a chickpea thing salad. I can't remember what that was. Yeah, it was like a week, 2 weeks ago. Anyway, so yeah, subscribe, like, post videos a lot.